Welcome to 5 Minutes a Day. If you're just stopping by, we are a tool of, it's at least 5 minutes a day, right? So the best way to use this tool is to read the passage, to listen to the video, because I've done the work. I've read through the commentaries and I've looked at scripture. I looked at the original writings and lots of texts. And so I've done the work for us. So then you can listen to the video and maybe gain insight on this text that you hadn't seen before. And then spend some time in reflection and responding how God would like you to respond to this text. And spend some time praying. So just go deeper. So go ahead and like, because that brings other people to see our videos, and subscribe. Good morning. And welcome to Monday, and welcome to a new week. And I can't believe this is happening, but we are in the last week of the book of Genesis. So we started it at the beginning of the year, and here we are 5 months later, finishing it up. And the book of Genesis ends with Joseph's family. So we are looking at the last days of Jacob and his life. And so today we are looking at, actually, Jacob is nearing his life, and so he asks his son Joseph to come over to give him a blessing. And this is found in Genesis chapter 48, and the title is Jacob Blesses Joseph's Sons. So go ahead and read it on your own. And so this right here, this section clears up a lot of confusion maybe over the tribes of Israel in the future. So we're going to talk about that. But so what he does is he has two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Manasseh's the oldest and Ephraim's the youngest. And so as he's there, Jacob is just going on first, kind of like a summary of his life, and just reiterates the promise that God gave to him personally at Bethel, that he would make him fruitful and multiply him, and he will give Canaan to his people. So just as God visited Abraham, and then he reiterated that same promise to his son Isaac, he also did that to Jacob when Jacob was at Bethel, saying that I am not only the God of your forefathers, right, of Abraham and Isaac, but I am your God. And the commitment I made to them is the commitment I'm making to you, that I will turn you into a great nation. And Canaan is going to be your land that you're going to inhabit. And so think about that. Here he is dying, right? And he is not going to see that plan to fruition. At least Abraham and Isaac, they were in Canaan, right? They didn't own any property. They weren't they didn't own anything or were in charge of anything, but there was still that promise that this land here that you're in, that you're just kind of sojourning over, it's going to be yours. So at least they were in that same land. But here is Jacob, and he's not even in that land, right? He's over in Egypt, and he's under the Egyptian rule, and he still clings to that promise that God is faithful, as he saw God work in his life, that God is faithful and that promise will come to pass. So just kind of want to encourage you, for those of you who may be struggling right now and not seeing God's promises fulfilled in your life, that we can cling to that promise even when we're in a different country, so to speak, right? That it doesn't seem that this promise is coming, but the promise of God's going to provide for you, but your bank accounts may seem super low, right? That you can trust in his promises. So what Jacob did at this time is he adopts Manasseh and Ephraim as his own. And that's why it could be confusing at times, because there are 12 sons of Israel, but if you think about it, there's no tribe of Joseph. Like if you read throughout Exodus and 1st and 2nd Kings and Chronicles, and they list the different tribes, there's no tribe of Joseph. And so his tribe is divided into two. So then some scholars maybe say 13 tribes. So if you ever hear scholars say 13 tribes, or scripture that says that in the Old Testament, this is why. Because Joseph's, the 11th tribe, so to speak, is into two, and that's Manasseh and Ephraim. And so here, when Jacob is blessing Manasseh and Ephraim, he's giving the greater blessing. So his right hand of blessing is for the older one. And so typically that's for the older one. So he puts that hand to bless Ephraim. And what Joseph sees here is, well, what he does is he tries to move his hand over to Manasseh, because he says, no, Manasseh is the oldest one, not Ephraim. But Jacob knows what he's doing, and he puts his hand of blessing on Ephraim. And we see that in the rest of the Old Testament too. This Ephraim is the stronger tribe, so to speak, of the two of them. So he becomes a greater one. So as I just want to close with this phrase that Jacob has, which is beautiful. And this is the verse, and it says, God has fed me all my life long. God has fed me all my life long. And so isn't that beautiful? This was an example of a testimony of grace. That Jacob messed up so many times. And there's so many times that he was a bad example as a father, that he lied to right in front of his children, right, to Esau. And he deceived his brother Esau. And there's so many things that he did that he's not, his character wasn't that great at times. And he flat out disobeyed God a couple of times, and God told him to go Bethel, and he went the other way, right? But he sees that everything he has, it's not because of his own personal, because of what he did personally, but it's through God's grace. And I would say that I just love for us to grasp on, that whatever we have, it's all because of God's grace and mercy over us. It's not because how great we are, and we all fallen short, we all don't deserve God's mercy, but he gives it to us, and he gives us blessings so abundantly. And then he closes this chapter again with that promise, says that God will be with you, right? He knows that it's going to be hard times. He knows that they're going to stay, because God had already told Abraham that they were going to be gone for 400 years. So Jacob knows that this is going to come, but he says that God will be with you. Even in the dark times, God will be with you, and he will be faithful to bring you back to the land of the fathers. So what a beautiful blessing that he gives to Joseph at the end of his life. Right, have a good day, and remember, 5 minutes in the Word can change your life. See you tomorrow.